There's something very significant happened yesterday at the Black Star Square or Independence Square, whatever you call it. Okay. What was it? The head of state who had the largest applause, the most emphatic display of public enthusiasm.
Was a 36-year-old.
Ibrahim Traoré.
He was a Western cowboy.
Yes, Ibrahim Traoré. Clearly. No, I mean,
not that.
That should say something.
That. Oh,
you understand?
Kwesi
No,
Pratt.
but that should say something.
Something
In
about
fact, the Speaker of Parliament,
It's a cowboy.
the Speaker of Parliament,
Call him cowboy, call him whatever. The endorsement, the public endorsement, as far as you can.
he had the loudest applause.
The loudest applause, the loudest enthusiation.
Okay.
And
We've
so,
seen it all before.
I'm not saying that we haven't seen it
I
before.
am very cynical and skeptical about these characters.
Okay.
We've seen it all before.
Okay.
You've seen more than
No
anybody.
problem, no problem.
So, please.
But for the moment yesterday,
Yeah, he was a
all
man.
the so-called democratically leaders and so on did not get the kind of endorsement that Ibrahim Traoré got at Independence Square. And that's a
I'm
statement.
struggling to get the logic of your point. What is it? That the Ghanaian community,
No, not just the
majority,
Ghanaian
no,
community.
we're a majority there. At least the people clapping, majority obviously were Ghanaian citizens.
Okay.
What were they endorsing?
What they were endorsing? They were endorsing a struggle against neocolonialism. They were endorsing a struggle for African people to take hold of their resources and to exploit it for their own benefit. They were endorsing a regime which is saying no to foreign military bases on African soil and so on. Those were the things they were endorsing.
I'm
Now,
not sure.
democracy, I'm saying that democracy must yield something that the people want.
Right.
Because democracy in our lifetime and throughout the world on many occasions has yielded things that are against the interests of the people. Clearly, so-called democracy. And in any case, if you come to test for ingredients in this so-called democracy, you find it lacking in many of the countries in West Africa.
We fought for this.
Exactly.
Why did we fight to restore constitutional normalcy and multi-party democracy? Why? Why did we do that? We put our lives on the line.
Yes.
Some died,
yes,
actually.
Yes.
Some died.
Many died.
Yes.
But
So why did we do that?
No, Kweku, we did that in expectation of certain results. We did that believing that it will yield dividends to the population.
I'm sure.
Now, if 30 years later we do an examination and find that what we struggle for is not yielding the dividends we want, are we not entitled to change our minds?
How do you do the change? Because I know you will
I don't have a gun. I'm not a soldier.
Did you see that?
You know, yes. I
So-
cannot organize a coup d'etat and so on. I
No,
cannot.
but I know you
do
will
that.
not
Yeah.
endorse or prescribe coup d'etat in,
Under certain circumstances, I will.
in this constitutional
Under
era.
certain, look, for example,
The only time I would endorse coup d'etat is the counter coup d'etat, as Nkrumah himself said.
no, Kweku, let me give you
Yeah.
another example. If we go to the elections and we elect a government of our choice, and the previous government refuses to hand over, that will be justification for a coup d'etat. When the avenues for legitimate expression of the people is closed, you open the floodgates for coup d'etat.
This is a hypothesis I would not want to interrogate
Why?
because it wouldn't happen. And our history has vindicated that point. We've had about 8 or 9 transitions with all its challenges. And many of those transitions, that's why I made a point that even 2 election petitions came on board. We have found a way of deepening the democratic consolidation exercise. We should not contemplate, and because your scenario wouldn't happen, I tell you, no
You mean
Ghanaian,
we cannot have a Bukasa as head of state in
it is
Ghana?
not going to happen.
How do you come to that conclusion? Kweku?
That's why I said I will interrogate
We
that
could have a
hypothesis
Bukasa in Ghana anytime.
anytime.
Anytime we
Oh,
could have a
you are
Bukasa.
underestimating what
Kweku,
our
you have
historical
been around.
experience.
Kweku, you have
I
been
think you are.
around.
Look, we have created a critical mass of a commitment against military adventurism, and for the upgrade again of constitution. constitutional democracy. Look, it's not a perfect system.
Right.
No way. I'm not talking about perfection.
Yeah.
I'm talking of a certain journey that we have taken, including with your support.
Yeah.
Well,
With your effort,
Okay.
your participation. And here you give me a scenario, a hypothesis of a Bokassa at this stage in our history. It won't happen, my brother.
Kweku, I'm surprised that you've come to a conclusion that it
Won't happen.
Because I'm looking at elections in Ghana since 1991.
Yes.
And I'm looking at some of the candidates, some of the people who qualified to be on the ballot.
That's
Their
right.
views,
The
their
people decided.
attitude, and so on.
It's their right to be there if they
One
qualify
day,
in terms
one day, some of those people are going to emerge as victorious in our election.
if true,
And
fair
you know
and
that what
foul
I'm
means-
saying-
if true, fair and free means yes.
The person is elected. After he's elected, he says, hey, to hell with your
He
constitution.
can't do that.
It has happened in history again. We are talking about history. Kweku. Why? Adolf Hitler. Was he not democratically elected? Look at what he put the world through.
Kwesi, again you've gone to.
So I'm saying that when we have a situation and a Bokassa emerges and Adolf Hitler emerges, it becomes
Anyway,
legitimate and proper
I'm sure you're
to
saying
overthrow
if,
them.
Okay. All right.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
see, you know what? This argument,
Yeah.
if you are not careful,
Yes.
could be reversed to justify the 66 coup. If you are not careful with this logic, it could be reversed.
In 1966, we didn't have a Bokassa in power. So we cannot reverse this argument to justify the 1966
I'm
coup.
talking.
And again, on hindsight,
You know my
Kweku,
position.
I know.
I'm talking of
On
people
hindsight.
who assumed
Kweku.
that what we had was a Bokassa.
No.
They thought we had a live president when Nkrumah was never declared formally a live president.
Agreed.
But they thought we had, not that they thought, they saw a one-party state. The fact, again, and I'm being very honest, the 66 coup was completely unjustified. It was a foreign teleguided adventure. So that is not an issue we are going to even debate here. But the 65 elections, you could also call it selection.
65.
1965, the second parliament of the First Republic. You could say so. Because it was only the party, the Central Committee, that did the selection of the members of parliament. And then they were declared unopposed and came to parliament, the second parliament. And there are people who see those things as why they should justify the 1966 coup. Because they look at just those things. I don't. I disagree. Especially when you realize that it was foreign teleguided
But you see, Kweku,
and financed.
Kweku,
Yeah, so we have to be very careful.
no way that the 1966, I'm not saying that you are justifying it, but there's no way that the 1966 coup can be justified based on the evidence available to us now. We have the evidence.
Even then.
No. The evidence suggests very clearly that the 1966 coup had nothing to do with the emergence of a Bokassa. The 1966 coup came about only because Western interest was affected by the government then.
But they were plotting the coup.
Yes.
The CIA, the British intelligence,
Yes.
and the government.
But it was not to entrench democracy. It was not to overthrow a dictatorship. It was to protect Western
I'm
interest.
saying they will say so.
They cannot today. They cannot because we have, for example, and I'm sure you know that, you have read it, the cable which was dispatched to the British Foreign Office by the British ambassador in Ghana at the time, in 1961. I'm talking about, what was his name? Pardon?
Is it Mahoney?
No, not Mahoney, the British High Commissioner here. Oh, I just
Let's
forgot
go.
the name.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. In which he said that Nkrumah had to be gotten rid of because he was making the African too politically conscious.
That's all true.
Clear.
But I'm
You
talking
understand?
of those who were internal to the whole situation and who jubilated and celebrated the coup. Just listen to them. Read their
Snelling,
books.
actually the British High Commissioner then was Snelling.
Yes.
Snelling.
Yes.
Snelling sent that cable to the Foreign Office justifying the overthrow. This is 1961, September 1961. Okay. So they cannot turn around today and tell us that because Bokassa was emerging in Nkrumah and so on. It is
Of course,
not.
look, even the
It
first
is
coup
in the
attempt
declassified documents of the CIA, and so it's clear why they conspired
in
to kill Nkrumah.
1958 we were multiple,
I had the
but there
privilege.
was a coup attempt.
I had the privilege, you know, of interviewing AK the coup before he died. And Randy, I'm sure you've seen that
On hot
interview.
issues.
Yes, you've seen that interview.
Hot issues
in
on
which
TV3.
he admits that as far as he was concerned, Nkrumah was the best leader that Ghana ever
Because
had.
he was part of the conspiracy.
I know. And he explains how he got into the conspiracy through threats, blackmail, and so
I don't
on.
believe that. What I know and what I have, he was a conscious participant in the conspiracy. That coup, the main guy was Halley. He was the main guy. The police, Halley, JWK Halley was the main guy the Americans influenced. He brought in Kutuka, Afifa, they coup them all.
But what about Kwashi?
Kwashi, 37.
37.
Yes.
Kwashi, the guy at 37.
But he was
hospital.
packed, he was thick,
Yeah.
deep,
Yeah.
neck deep
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
conspiracy.
Yeah.
I know about it.
Yeah.
37 was one of the areas
That
they
was
used.
the home.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
where they met, that was where they plotted. And
You know, I
and
was
the
on
Kwashi.
admission there.
Yes.
Yeah, I was on admission on that day, and there was a security guy. I didn't know he was a security guy. Let me be honest. The old man used to visit him sometimes very late. Sorry for that digression. Very late, he goes to sit with him. We were only two in the special ward.
Okay.
You know. But the day of the coup, this man was so agitated. When even guns had not begun to boom, he goes out, he comes in, he goes out, he comes in. There was something wrong. It was the first day I realized that he had something like a Motorola.
Okay.
So I realized that then this man may be a very important person. By 7, 8
AM or PM?
AM. No, by then the booms were going on.
Yeah.
You could hear from Flagstaff House. This man decided to cut, remove the louvers in the ward and then cut the net, jumping out. Within 5 minutes, there were soldiers there. They knew he was there.
Okay.
Apparently, he was not ill.
Oh,
He was on duty.
okay.
But they killed him.
Okay. They found him.
Yeah, they found him and shot him dead. It's when my father came from jail 3 years later that he asked, what happened? Did something happen to that? And I saw that man was jumping out. The soldiers had just come and we could hear gunshots. So the man died. Then he told me that, the man was on operations.
Okay.
Because they knew 37 was part of the conspiracy then.
Right. Okay.